Cliff Richard, welcome to my beautiful home.
Oh, thank you.
But actually, it isn't my beautiful home.
No,
it's
but
yours.
It was mine once.
Because 60 years ago, you recorded your first hit, Move It.
I did, right across the corridor from this one in Studio 2. And that's where actually the Shadows weren't with me when I recorded Move It. I had regular session musicians, plus the guy who wrote Move It playing guitar. Norrie Barrymore had said to the agent who had taken my demo thing to him, he said, bring him in. On the way to the audition, Ian wrote Move It in the 715A Green Line bus. And he didn't really complete it. It was really just once through. And when Norrie played it, he said, don't worry, you'll do it once through, we'll put a guitar solo in, and then you just do it again. And that's how it was. And 32 years later, he wrote the second verse.
Now, Move It, many people don't realize, was the B-side.
Yes. Norrie had said he'd find us an A-side, and therefore we were to record Move It. And I didn't care at that stage. I thought, oh my God, we're going to be in a studio recording. And we did record the A-side, Schoolboy Crush, which was a hit in America by Bobby Helms. And this is where it was good. The record companies were far freer with their thoughts, and they were much more into the music and stuff. When in fact they tried to get me as a new artist onto Jack Good's brand new show called Oh Boy, he simply said, you want your boy on my show? He can't sing Schoolboy Crush. It has to be Move It. And in a way, that's a bit of luck again, because I therefore became an artist who sang original material. I could have ended up being a cover artist. And although that may not have been a bad thing, I prefer the fact that we then started writing our own songs, and the Shadows continued even when I stopped writing with them. And loads of friends have written for me.
I think of you in terms analogous to Diana Ross, in that she was a great vocal talent and personality who never wrote her stuff.
No.
And thus was able to assimilate the best of other people. Does that create a sense of insecurity because you don't know where the next one's coming from?
No, not in those days, because in those days when we started, there weren't any singer-songwriters, well, not very few anyway. And so therefore the writers were desperate to have singers sing their songs. And here I was, I'll have it. And it works well, because, you know, when you think about it, I don't know whether Alan Tarney would have recorded We Don't Talk Anymore, but I did take it to #1, and it did sell 2.5 million. And so there was a camaraderie between writers and singers, because we needed each other. If I was starting now, probably I would attempt to be a singer-songwriter, because I did write some songs with the Shadows, but once I became known in Britain, the Shadows and I would be arriving in a town, there'd be a press conference set up. Hank and Bruce would say, you're the star, you go and talk to them. So I did, okay, I'm the star, I'll go talk to them, have my photograph taken. I was all over the papers the next day, but they had written 2 more songs. They gave them to me, and then I thought, okay, it's fine. I get all these lovely songs, and we, between us, had massive hits together, songs that they wrote and I recorded.
Well, nowadays, of course, you aren't recording in Abbey Road anymore, and you have recorded in Criteria. And I love the fact that when you said to me, oh, we're going to be making an album in Miami, and I just said, Criteria? And you said, yes. How did you guess? Because, of course, Criteria is the place.
It is. Well, I didn't know exactly then. When I found out because of Lamont Dozier and the Holland, Dozier and Holland. Lamont Dozier produced my Solicious album, and he had started an album of his own, a kind of unplugged of all the big hits he's had. And I didn't realize those 3, Holland, Dozier and Holland, they wrote about 50-something #1s. I don't even know if the Beatles did that, but they were fantastic. And so I got this message saying, you know, Lamont would love to have you sing something. It's not a duet, it was guesting on it. So he said, if you could sing these 2 lines, and if you think of an ooh and ah, and I did exactly that for him. And the studio nearest to me was Criteria. And when I got there, they said, oh, it's really nice. I said, well, who else records here? And they said, well, the Bee Gees did Staying Alive. I said, say no more, I'm happy here. And they did a whole bunch of their hits in that particular studio.
You have reached an age where you can be confident of your role in the music of the 20th century. That must be a pleasure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the very fact that we're here talking like this it almost seems impossible, because when I started, I was 17 when I first came and stood at Studio 2 just across the corridor. And so in those days, the thought of being 60, I don't think we thought we'd reach the age of 60. let alone still be recording and stuff. So yes, it's a great feeling for me to have survived. I'm going to try and express it on my tour. Oh, there we go. Yes, there it is. Yep, Studio 2. And right behind here, that wall that was the sound echo chamber, which was a huge, great cement room with a mic at one end and a speaker at the other. So your voice went through there and it was echoed. But fantastic. And yeah, I have great fond memories of that.
And now you've recorded a new album and have a special announcement.
It is going to be released in November, and it's going to be called Rise Up, which for me feels the right kind of title to have, because after the bad period of 2 years in my life where I couldn't sleep and think about anything, it seems to me that I've managed to rise up. So I feel it's a good title for the album, and the songs are good as well. I mean, I'm so thrilled with it. I'm hoping that it will be a revival for me, not only for me personally as a person, but maybe for somebody, it could be recognized by some of these younger people to be a valuable artist. I'm not messing around with it, it's for real. And you should really close your eyes when you listen to new records, because you don't need to know how old I am. And I'm not going to tell you.
So, how do you get the songs?
Well, with the new album, I was shocked actually when Warner Music said to me, "We'd like you to do an album of brand new songs," because I did 2 big rock and roll albums. I did the Boulders Brass, which was sort of American songbook, all old stuff. And I was prepared to do that the rest of my life. But when they said to me, "We'd like you to do an album of brand new songs," I said, well, yes, I'd love to do it. It was a thrill for me to get brand new songs, learn them, get out there, find out how to sing this one, what should I do with this one. And it was absolutely wonderful. It's got songs that I could hear immediately, and I've tended to judge my choices of material by, if in 30 seconds, if I haven't got it, I put it aside on a maybe pile. I might play it again and try it again, but all these songs I heard, I liked within 30 seconds. We just got to keep fingers crossed that my tastes are similar to those of others who might buy it.
Well, I know at least a few thousand people who are going to buy the album Rise Up, because I know that your 2 Royal Albert Hall dates sold out.
It's true, we're doing a tour. The album is coming up perfectly because it comes out after I've done the tour, and I will talk about it. I'm also going to feature Rise Up and a couple of other songs from the album just to introduce them to it. I've never been one of these artists that sings the whole new album, because sometimes it's difficult for a public to grasp what each track is if it's all new. If I'm going to do new stuff, I make sure I do plenty of the old, recognizable stuff, and then it's acceptable. They accept it, and they see it as new. But I think they're going to like the 3 songs I've chosen. I think they're going to like them as they are. I think they'll like them as songs, because they were so instant for me. And I can't believe that I'm particularly unique in that respect. I think there'll be loads of others who probably would recognize that these songs are really quite nice. So I've got fingers crossed. So Rise Up could be my revival, who knows, in the recording world. Even though I've made records all the way through, I didn't get the chance. In fact, it was 14 years ago that I last made a record of original songs. So it's quite a gap. And I thought that was behind me. I thought I'd never get the chance to do it again. And there it is, Rise Up's here.
I know we're gonna rise up even stronger.